1960s were a tumultuous time for students across North America, and Mount Royal was no exception. During this period, most of the protests had a more international focus, but Mount Royal was unique in that it had a more local issues, such as perceived abuses by the university faculty and problems as the university student population expanded beyond what the university could contain. The first major student protest happened shortly after Mount Royal became a secular institution. President Collette of the university was dismissed, and many of the students objected to the sort of closed doorway that the administration went on finding his replacement. This event sparked a small protest march to the office of the board of directors, protesting that they have more transparency in their dealings. Initial unrest was exacerbated by the student paper, The Reflector. The school president, interim President McCready, sent a letter to the Reflector having various issues with its content and asking them to do things like stop swearing. The newspaper editor for The Reflector then said in the editorial columns a column just tearing him apart. The battle between the student newspaper, which had no oversight at this point by the student union, and the school faculty was exemplified and made worse when the Reflector began running a series of articles called Student as Nigger. Their refusal to stop printing this incredibly controversial article led to the administration canceling the Reflector for a while and open hearings of the editor. The student administration supported the editor, and the Reflector's other committees attacked the blatant censorship that was being put on the article. Censorship issues were tested again when the company that helped publish the Reflector censored a column advocating birth control. The problems with the Reflector were compounded by the issue facing Mount Royal infrastructure. Mount Royal's student population has simply grown way too large for its facilities, and throughout the years of 1967 and 1968, the Reflector published numerous articles on no student parking, no student housing, very high bus fares and not enough buses for students. The last one actually sparked one of the last great major protests as students marched from Mount Royal, which was on 7th Avenue at that time, all the way to Town Hall to protest that the bus fares be lowered. One of the major sticking points for the student body was that there was not enough materials for the students, most of all in the library. This was exemplified in the 1969 student library protest, the last great big student protest that we know of the 1960s at MRU, in which students checked out every available library book simply to prove that there wasn't enough materials available for all of the students. The great MRU student protests of the 1960s wound down as the 1970s rolled around. There were two major reasons for this. One was that Mount Royal was moved to Lincoln Park campus, which solved many of the housing and traffic problems. Number two was that the Reflector was now submit to faculty oversight, and controls were put on it so it could no longer be as rebellious. The student protests of the late 1960s are relevant today because problems today are occurring very similar to the problems we had then. We are losing provincial funding at Mount Royal, tuition hikes have been going through the roof, and as before, parking is getting less and less available. In order to predict our future and the future of Mount Royal, we have to examine our past. I'm Matt Linder, and this has been History Talks.